Hello, ESS crew. It's Carol Lenorvitz, and welcome back to our 12th week of our second segment. We are definitely getting very, very close to the end of the year, but we have some good work ahead of us. And this particular weekly learning plan is going to stretch over 2 weeks because it is going to bridge everybody's April break. So let's get an overview of what you're going to be working on this week. As usual, same housekeeping stuff that we've been doing all along. Make sure you're using the weekly learning plan, not just the material that's in Canvas. It's really helpful because there are some additional resources that I make sure I put in that weekly learning plan for you. Thursday synchronous sessions. We will have no synchronous session this week on April 15th or the following week on April 22nd. And that's to accommodate the fact that over the next 2 weeks, each of you is going to be on April break, so that we're not pulling you out of bed or out of a slumber or out of playing outside doing something great. We will not have synchronous sessions again until April 29th. At that point, we will resume our regular synchronous sessions and be back together as a full group. In terms of office hours, there will be office hours available this week, April 12th, as usual, from 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning on Tuesday and from 1 to 3 in the afternoon on Wednesday. The following week, however, the week of April 22nd, week of April 17th, there will be no office hours, and that's because that's when my April break occurs. So know that if you have questions, if you want to reach out, this coming week of April 12th is your best opportunity to get those answered until after I come back from April break. In terms of upcoming stuff, we are officially closing out our second to last module of the year. So you're wrapping up our solar system, and we are beginning in earnest our last content module of the year, which is all about Earth's geosphere. We've done a little bit of exploration informally of the geosphere as we've been going throughout this year, but you're going to dig in a little bit more specifically with it this week. I also want to bring to your attention, as we've been talking about, for assignments that are beyond 2 weeks overdue, those have been replaced and will continue to be replaced with zeros. Remember, a zero is a placeholder, meaning it's an assignment or assessment that needs your attention still. It's something that you haven't yet turned in. So part of the reason those are in there is so that you have an accurate reflection of your progress in class to date. And it's also a reminder to go back and definitely complete and resubmit those pieces so that you get the practice with that content, and also so that you can better support a successful grade for yourself for this semester. And then again, April break is coming up. We'll take a closer look at that in just a moment. Mine will happen from April 17th to April 25th. All right, so here's a little bit more detailed view just to clarify some things. Just like with our February break, April break is going to follow for every class your teacher's schedule. So for our class for ESS, it's going to follow my schedule. Please know that during April break, I will be off too. So during that time, there won't be any synchronous sessions. There won't be any office hours, and I will only very infrequently be on email. I also encourage you over your April break to take some screen-free time for yourself. We may luck out and this nice weather might continue during that time, but I really encourage you to get outside and do some things that are not on a screen. So if we take a look at the schedule here, this last week on April 5th, you had Weekly Learning Plan 2-11 posted. That work is still due on Tuesday the 13th, so make sure you're following through with those pieces. That includes your Module 8 Asynchronous DBA. So make sure you've turned that in so that I can make sure that you have the access code to exam access code to get into your Module 8 exam. This week's weekly learning plan that you're learning about right now is posted on the 12th. Please note that it is not due until the 27th, and that's to allow you to accommodate when your April break occurs. My April break again is going to happen from the 17th through the 25th. So again, I will not be available during that time frame. But when we get back on Monday, April 26th, all of us will be back together again, and we will continue with our regular normal schedule. Office hours will return. I will be back on email, and we will return to our regular synchronous session. So let's look at the content for this week. You essentially have 3 jobs. The first one is your Module 8 exam. In order to access this, you will need to have completed and turned in your Module 8 DBA. Remember that DBA is asynchronous, and you had a choice of one of three formats, either a one-page paper, a 3-slide presentation, or a 1 to 2 minute video in which you're answering and using evidence to support your answer the question of how does our sun influence conditions in our solar system. Make sure you're looking back at that DBA document from last week. It is also a helpful document to prepare you for the Module 8 exam. If you've turned in your Module 8 DBA on time, which means by Tuesday, April 13th, I will then be sending out on Wednesday, April 14th, the access code for that exam. So please make sure you're doing what you need to do to follow through there. In the meantime, if you've done that and you're waiting, you can go ahead and proceed with our next assignments in Module 9. So 9.01, you're going to be learning about the structure of Earth. So you're going to be learning about both the structure and composition of the interior of Earth and how we know about that structure and composition, given that it's more than 6,000 kilometers below our feet. You'll take a short quiz, and from there, you're going to delve into an aspect of cycling, biogeochemical cycle, called the carbon cycle. You're familiar already with the hydrologic cycle or the water cycle. The ideas are similar here, where you're thinking about reservoirs, places where something is stored, and processes that move material from one place to another. In this case, instead of thinking about water molecules, you're going to be thinking about compounds that include the element carbon. So there's a representation here. After you've done that learning and that work, you are going to be creating your own model of the carbon cycle, showing both the reservoirs and the processes that are important, as well as how humans might be influencing that carbon cycle and what that in turn might be doing to some of the other Earth systems. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weekly learning plan. Setup's the same. As always, you're going to see an introduction right at the top. You will see the new learning objectives, some communication reminders, and then I've added a little bit more detail in here in terms of pacing. You know that you should be using the weekly learning plan to stay on pace and on target, but I've also given you some suggestions here about what you should do if you need to catch up. April vacation, though it's definitely a good idea to take a break from your computer and a break from your schoolwork, if you are behind, it also serves as a really good opportunity for you to catch up so that when you return back to school, you are ready to finish out the year strong. So I encourage you to look at some of those recommendations there. You'll also see our to-do list as usual, 3 jobs this week. In addition to that, you will see the link to our last synchronous session presentation, so you can play around with and review that content as you would like. You're going to start with your Module 8 exam. Please know that you will need the access code in order to do this, and you need to have your DBA done in order to receive that access code. If you're either waiting to receive the access code or you're not yet ready to take the exam, you can go ahead and move forward with the Module 9 work again. So 9.01, the structure of Earth, and 9.02, the carbon cycle. Strong recommendation there, as usual, is to check out some of those additional optional resources. Lots of them give some really good alternative perspectives on the content that may help you in addition to what's presented in the lessons. Again, remember that due to April break, we won't have a synchronous session on April 15th or April 22nd, but we will return to our normal schedule on the 29th. You'll see the same note there for office hours that will happen this week. And if you scroll all the way down, you're going to see some more information about upcoming work. So our quick recap, again, 3 jobs this week. The first one is your Module 8 exam. Again, you can do these in any order, so that doesn't have to be your first job. Second job is 9.01, learning about the structure of Earth and taking the short quiz there. And third job is the carbon cycle and putting together a model of the carbon cycle. Do remember to use those additional resources. Absolutely make sure over this 2-week stretch of time as well that you are taking your April vacation, and please do continue to reach out for help if you need assistance. Remember that I will be available via email and office hours the week of April 12th, but I will be unavailable from April 17th until April 25th. So make sure you reach out when I'm going to be available to help you. I hope you all have a good, relaxing April break, and I look forward to seeing us all together again afterwards. Have a great week.